Today we are going to start learning about statistics and probability. The exciting thing about this for me is we usually save this until the very end of the year, and so we don't get to it as in depth as what I would like. So I'm not used to teaching this, and so this will be a learning experience for me as well as for you. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to define some vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is experiment. An experiment is an investigation or a procedure that has results that vary. Our next vocabulary word is outcomes. Outcomes are the possible results of an experiment. An event is a collection of one or more outcomes. Okay, then favorable outcomes are outcomes of a specific event. So let's kind of sum that all up. You should have a little bit of white space there next to your vocabulary words. So I'm going to give an example and I'll talk through it, and then you can write the example down as well. Okay, so here is our example. We have 6 marbles. We have a purple one, a blue one, a green one, a yellow one, a red one, and another green one. And so if this were my purple, my paper, I would just draw 6 circles like I've done, and then I would label them P for purple, B for blue, G for green, Y for yellow, and R for red, and G for green. Or you can color code them, whatever you want to do. And so an experiment, one of our vocabulary words, is randomly selecting a marble. Alright, then, and that's supposed to say experiment. It doesn't look like that it does. Then our next vocabulary word is outcome. And then an outcome is each marble in the group. Okay, so the outcomes that we can draw would be purple, blue, green, yellow, red, green. Then selecting green, so let's say we want to select green, or we hope to select green. That's an event. And then actually choosing a green marble is number of favorable outcomes. And the number of favorable outcomes that we have is 2, because there's 2 green marbles in our bag. Okay, so that kind of hopefully helps break that down a little bit and makes it make a little bit more sense. I would definitely write this example down somewhere next to the vocabulary words, because I think it helps define the vocabulary words. So let's look at our first example, and I think when we start looking at these examples, this will start to make even more sense. So our first example says you roll a number cube. A number cube is a dice. What are the possible outcomes? There are 6 possible outcomes that you could have. So 6 possible outcomes. And the actual outcomes are, you could roll a 1, you could roll a 2, you could roll a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. So these right here are my possible outcomes. Then part B says, what are the favorable outcomes of rolling an even number? My favorable outcomes for rolling an even number, I could roll a 2, I could roll a 4, or I could roll a 6. So if I rolled one of those and that's the favorable outcome, that's what it would be, 2, 4, 6. Then the last one says, what are the favorable outcomes of rolling a number greater than 5? The only number that I can roll on a number cube that's greater than 5 is 6. So 6 is the favorable outcome. Go ahead and pause the video and do the on your own, and then come back and check it. The on your own says you randomly choose a letter from a hat that contains letters A through K. What are the possible outcomes? So you could draw an A, a B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, or a K. Those are the possible outcomes. And then it says, what are the favorable outcomes of choosing a vowel? So I could pull out an A, an E, or an I. Those are the 3 vowels that would be in that hat. Example 2 says you spin the spinner. So there's the spinner and you're going to spin it. It says how many possible outcomes are there? There are 6 possible outcomes. And then it says, in how many ways can spinning red occur? So this one is red. My colors are wrong. This one is supposed to be red, and this one is supposed to be red. So there are 3 ways, if my spinner were correct, that I could land on red. Then it says, in how many ways can spinning not purple occur? What are the favorable outcomes of spinning not purple? So there's only one purple block, which means there's 5 possible ways that purple cannot occur, and those possible ways are red, green, red, blue, and red again. Notice here how I've listed red 3 times, even though it's the same color, because there's 3 reds on my spinner. So I could spin red on one of those, or another one of those, or another one of those. So you need to list them even if you're listing the same thing more than once. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and do the on your own, and then come back and check it. It says you randomly choose a marble. How many possible outcomes are there? There are 8 possible outcomes. Then it says, in how many ways can choosing blue occur? There's 2 blue marbles, so there's 2 ways that choosing blue can occur. And then, in how many ways can choosing not yellow occur? 5 ways. What are the favorable outcomes of choosing not yellow? You could choose red, you could choose blue, you could choose purple, you could choose green, or you could choose blue again. So I should have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is our lesson on determining outcomes. If you are still confused about some of the vocabulary, please come see me in the morning and we will go over it again.